Hey flight simmers, welcome to episode number 4 of this lower central overhead panel. Today is the last episode on this particular panel and it's finally time to connect it to the flight sim. Although there are many components on this panel, it's quite an easy task to connect it to the sim because it's a rather repetitive task to connect each single of the components. I've created a mapping table. You will find the link to it in the description, and of course the MobiFlight profiles, the profile for the Arduino board are available on Patreon. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell. And now let's do the connection of this panel. Alright, here you can see the assembly of the panel, and let's connect it to the flight sim. It's a little bit of work, but it's actually not that complicated. But as you can see, I already connected it to the sim, and all the LEDs are working, and even the backlight. And for the backlight, I'm using a mini version of our controller we created already in the past. Here is the MOSFET board, and I just soldered 3 connectors to the prototype board. And in here, the connector goes to the DC jack of the panel. And this episode is a great example for using several Arduino boards, because I have one board in the panel itself and one controller board for the backlight, and I want to use this board later on for all the overhead panels. Then I have just one board for all the backlight. I already started the flight and all the switches are working just fine. And here you can see the MobiFlight configuration, and as you can see there's a lot going on in here. The output configuration and the input configurations, and the MobiFlight modules. Now there are 2 modules, as you can see, because I connected 2 Arduinos to the sim, one for the panel, one for the backlight. And the backlight is very simple. It's just one LED connected to pin number 8. It's a PWM. That's very important. The other is a little bit more complicated. Here are all the switches and LEDs. Okay, to start, let's reset the boards and the configuration. For this, just right click and reset board. And then very important, update firmware. I highly recommend to give it a name. In the names field there are just 16 characters allowed. So I name it overhead LC for lower central. Let's do the same again for the backlight board. First, just delete okay, and give it a name. Overhead backlight. Okay. like this. Let's start with the backlight, and there are basically two ways to do all the configuration in the modules and the config itself. The easiest way is to support me on Patreon. Then you're able to download all the configuration files. To load a configuration file, just right-click on the module, open a configuration, browse to a directory, and select the backlight overhead panel configuration and upload config, upload finished. Do the same with the lower central overhead panel, upload config, and you're good to go. This is by far the easiest way, but I will show you the other way as well. Reset the board, update firmware. Okay. Okay, I just removed the output for the backlight. Let's start with the backlight. It's pretty simple. Right click, add device and an LED. It's connected to pin number 8. It's a PWM signal, very important. Just name it backlight. Right click, upload config. And this module is ready to go. For the overhead panel, the lower central, we have to add some more devices. And we are using LEDs and one analog input for the potentiometer and some buttons. I created an Excel sheet. The link to it is in the description, and there are all inputs and outputs and the assignments to the Arduino board, the on press and on release events for the strobe light toggle switch, for example, and the configuration where you can find this event, the vendor, aircraft and the system, all inputs, and all the way down there are the outputs. Here are the output configurations: anti-ice wing on, pin number 40 preset wing eyes on, and as well the vendor, aircraft and system. And basically you have to add all the digital inputs and outputs. I just will show you a few of them because it's every time the same. Let's start with the external light strobe on, for example. For this I simply add a device, a button, give it a name, just go to the Excel sheet, copy that name and do the pin assignment, 25. How easy is this? Oh, very quick. Let's do one more, external light strobe off, add device, button, copy the name. It's a little bit too long. All right, pin number 23. Okay, all the way down we have an analog input. There it is, overhead integral light. For this, add device, an analog input, copy the name. there is the pin is missing. It's A1. Okay, these are the inputs, all buttons and one analog input. All the rest, the LEDs, are all output. Right click, add device, LED output. And for example, let's create the anti-ice wing on. And it's connected to pin number 40. One more. Wing anti-ice fault. And it's connected to pin number 42. When you have assigned all the inputs and outputs, just right click, upload config, and the board configuration is done. And it's for every output and input, it's completely the same like we did right now with these 5 elements. I just open up my lower central overhead panel, and here the name is missing. Overhead, lower central, upload config. All right. The input and output configurations. Here I'm starting with a new document, a fully new blank document. And here as well, the easiest way to do all the configuration is to download the configuration from Patreon. Lower central overhead panel, open. And now here you can see this is very important, because now I have connected 2 Arduino boards to my computer, and MobiFlight wants to know which module I want to use for this configuration, because every input and output configuration has a board assigned to it, and each board has a unique ID. And of course my boards have a different ID from yours, and then you simply have to select the board you want to create the configuration to. Here I have these two boards, overhead backlight and the lower central. These are my two modules I've connected in my MobiFlight modules. And in this configuration file there are 2 different board numbers used, and I have to assign this. If I open up the backlight, the lower central, this one, it's a XML style document. You can open it up, and here you can see the outputs, and on the bottom there are all the inputs. It's quite a large document, and here you can see that here serial MobiFlight Mega, and here's a serial number. This is the serial number I assigned this configuration to, and you will have to change this. And this B4823B, it's of course the panel itself, not the backlight. So let's change this, B4823B, this one, and I want to assign it to my overhead lower central, assign. Let's do this as well with the MobiFlight Mega for the backlight. All right, this one, assign, okay. And now you're good to go. Now the IDs are assigned in all the input and output configurations. That's the only thing you have to do when you're working with my configuration files. But I want to do it manually as well. Start a new configuration. And maybe it's a good idea to start with the backlight. And we are using the analog input, the potentiometer. We are triggering the backlight Arduino board, and it's already connected with a DC jack, and the power supply is connected to the board. Of course, I need an input. Add a new row. Name it overhead integral light. Go to edit, select the module. It's the backlight. No, excuse me, it's a low central. And in here, there should be there it is, overhead integral light. And as an action type, I just want to store it as a MobiFlight variable. Name it overhead intake LT. And the value, simply add an add symbol. Okay. Run the configuration. And now you can see in the debug window, it's already connected. If you don't have the debug window, simply go to extras, settings, and in here enable the logging and the log level debug. Then you will have this debug window. All right, now I stored the value of my potentiometer to this variable. And now I simply want to transfer this value to my overhead backlight Arduino board. For this, I'll go to the output configuration, add a new row, name it overhead integral light, go to edit. My variable type is a MobiFlight variable, overhead integral light, and the display is my backlight, LED output, the backlight, and very important, enable the PWM mode. And now another very important setting we have to do right now is that when you have a look on the values, the maximum is 856 and the lowest is 17 or 12, all right, 13. But for PWM mode, there are only values between 0 and 255 allowed. So I will have to convert the input to this range. And I will use this with a modifier, an interpolation. And in here, I will set the lowest value, it's 13. It maps to 0. And the maximum, 863, maps to 255. All right. And as you can see, the backlight is on and it's dimmable as well. How easy is this? Great. Now let's add a toggle switch. I will start with the input configuration and I will connect this switch over here because it's quite convenient to check my LEDs. When I switch on this switch to test in the sim, you can see that all the LEDs are illuminated, and it's a very easy way to check if your settings in MobiFlight are right, if all the LEDs are wired properly. So let's start with this configuration. Input, add a new row. Let's search for the NLT. Yeah, there it is. In the Excel sheet, it's assigned to pin number 6 to the test. So copy the name, paste it in here, go to Edit, select the module, NLT test. And there are two events assigned. On press, it's the NLT test, and on release, it always switch to the bright. So switch it to Microsoft Flight Simulator, and the easiest way to simply copy and search. There's just one match found. There it is. And for on release, do the same again, action type Microsoft Flight Simulator. Okay, let's give it a test. And as you can see in the sim, it switches to test and back to bright. Dim doesn't work right now. We will fix it in a minute. But this is the first we have to do. Create a new row, give it a name. Simply copy the name, go to Edit, select the module, the device, this one, action type Microsoft Flight Simulator, on press, it's this one, and on release, back to bright. And it's connected to the sim. Perfect. Let's connect the Cori to the sim. It's basically the same. Let's connect the wing anti-ice, for example. Digital input, anti-ice, wing. Go to Edit, select the module. The device is wing on. And the action type, it's on press and on release. It's the toggle event because I'm using a latching switch in here. So I have to do the toggle every time I will press the wing. If you're using momentary switches, you simply can assign the on press event and skip the on release. And simply copy this configuration and paste it on the on release page. Okay, give it a test, press wing. All right, as you can see, in the debug window, press and release, but there is no config found. Okay. Yeah, because I have to use the wing button and not the LED, because the wing on is the LED. So quite simple. Now it should work. And as you can see in the sim, the wing is toggling as well. Perfect. Okay, let's go to the output configuration and do some LEDs. Create a new row and let's do the configuration for the wing. Search for wing in the Excel sheet. These are all digital inputs, and here you can see the output anti-ice wing on. This is the configuration I have assigned to the Cori button, but now I want to use it for the LED. Copy the name, go to Edit, search for the configuration, wing eyes on, and display, LED output, and select anti-ice wing on. And even if you don't run the simulator, you can test the configuration, because basically every time I connect hardware to the sim, I will do it without the simulator running, because the fans of the GPU are spinning like crazy. But you can test it anyway. Just use the test, and as you can see, when you press test, we can see it here. Yeah, it's illuminated in blue. You can test it right out of MobiFlight without the need of the sim to run. All right, and now when I'm toggling the switch, okay, let's do the same with the anti-ice wing fault light. For this, I simply duplicate the row, then I don't have to select the board again. Change the name, go to Edit, search for the event, can test it over here. Because I have to change the display to anti-ice wing fault, and now it works. Okay, let's switch off the wing anti-ice. And now you can see the benefit of this toggle switch over here, because when I test it, set it to the test, all the LEDs will be illuminated, and it's a very easy way to check your LEDs. All right, and then now it's basically all the same to connect all the Cori switches. Just select the on-press, on-release events and assign it to the corresponding switch. And for the outputs or the LEDs, like we did with the anti-ice wing on and fault, simply select the preset and assign it to the LED. I will simply reload my configuration file. I will not annoy you with the full configuration with copy and paste out of my Excel sheet. It's not necessary to show it all to you. Just load the configuration. We are at the end of this video, and this panel is finally fully assembled and connected to the flight sim. In the next video, we will pick the next panel of the overhead panel, create it, print it, assemble it, and connect it to the sim. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell, and see you in the next video.